You're probably wondering, why do I have two KO2s lined up side by side? Well, the first reason is we know that we run out of space on these KO2s really quickly. So if I run out of space on this one, I jump over to this one. If I run out of space on this one, I jump over to this one. That's one workflow. But most of the times, all I do is just jump a bunch of drums into this one. I put kicks on A, snares on B, hi-hats on C, and I load this one up with a whole bunch of samples and stuff like that. So today should be a good one. We're gonna get into the song mode for the KO2. I did do a video on patterns and scenes a while back, so it's probably time for that to be a little updated since they've added more into this device. Song mode is a really good feature. There are other shortcomings with the song mode. One thing is that you cannot name your scene. A scene is nothing more than a sequence. Some Grooveboxes call it a sequence. Other DAWs and Grooveboxes call it a scene. But a scene and a sequence is the same thing. The fact that you can't name your scenes makes it a little difficult and confusing, because as these scenes are progressing, you don't know what scene is what. As you're building, you don't know what scene is what. So sometimes you may have to get a little pad or a piece of paper or the Notes app or whatever it is, so that you know what scene is playing and what scene is next. We're going to talk about patterns, then we're going to go into scenes, and then we're going to get into the confusing song mode. But after this video, you shouldn't be confused any longer, because the song mode is pretty simple to use. We just have to wrap our heads around the structure and how it actually works. The difference between the KO2 and other Grooveboxes is that the KO2 only plays what it sees. If you show it something, it's going to play that, and it's going to keep doing it until you manually stop it. Other Grooveboxes, let's take the MPC for example. If I tell the MPC to play a sequence 5 times and then to play another sequence 2 times, that's exactly what it's going to do. And once it's done with those commands, it's just going to stop. So that's the difference between the KO2 and other Grooveboxes. First, let's get into patterns. So basically, you build your patterns with the sounds you have within your groups. You can mix them up as you see fit. For example, you can have A1 with B2, or you can have C5 with A1, if that's how you chose to set it up. The patterns tell the KO2 what sounds or samples to play together. These groups are just basically tracks and lanes. So you have track 1, which is track A, and then you have lanes, which is lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4. And each of those lanes are patterns. We already know that little circle means an empty pattern. If that circle is there, that means that pattern is empty. If you go to a pattern that's actually used, that circle will disappear. I'll show you that when we begin to start building an actual song or building an actual pattern. After that, you have your scenes. So scenes, you can build different patterns and chain them together using scenes. So basically, a scene is just a whole bunch of patterns just chained together to kind of make a song, so to speak. The scenes tell the KO2 what patterns to play together, and you'll understand as we start to build. But the key here is you have to build your scenes exactly how you want them to play within the song mode. That's going to make it a lot easier for you. What do I mean by that? Meaning, if you have a 1-bar pattern, that's all you're going to get out of the song mode. If you have an 8-bar pattern, then you're going to get 8 bars out of that particular scene once it enters into song mode. That brings me to the topic of the L. This L here. Some said layers, some said loops. This L actually means list. Some people were saying it doesn't even matter what it means, and to a certain extent that is true. But it's good to know what it means, because then you begin to understand the structure. They call it a list because within these lists, you have different scenes. So you can have 10 scenes in one list. Then you have to build another list, and that list will have 10 scenes in it. And you can make those scenes change between each other. So that's what that L means. I get the confusion because Teenage Engineering, they don't even use lists. They call it a song position. And they're calling it a song position because once you get into song mode, these lists are placed in certain positions to make your song. And that's why they call it a song position. Just know that the L means list. Now we get into song mode. The song mode are lists compiling a bunch of scenes together to play in a specific order. This is song mode. That's all it is. The lists tell the KO2 what scenes to play and in what order. So we're going to do this two ways. It's going to be two parts. First, we're going to build a simple pattern. Then we're going to put that pattern into a scene. Then we're going to take those scenes and build a little song with it. It's just going to be 4 simple sounds: a kick, a snare, hi-hat, and a bass line. Once we get that down, then I'll go over to another project and I'll play a song that is a little more complicated, and we'll make a song out of that. All right, so let's build something. Let's have some fun with the song mode. It's going to be something real simple: kick, snare, hi-hat. Let's go. Let's get into it. All right, let's stop there. So that is A1. We just put all of that on A1. Let's add a bass. Bass is going to be on B1. All right, let's go. I don't like that. Good enough. So that bass line is on B1. Now let me show you what I mean when I talk about the tracks and the lanes. So right now, A1 and B1 play together. Right? Now let's remove A1. Let's shift this over to A2. We can see that's a blank pattern. You see that little orange sun icon. So that means that's a blank pattern. So now just the bass line is going to play. Now let's move it back to A1 and let's move B1 to B2, which is an empty pattern. And now the drums are just going to play. I just wanted to show you that so you can see the difference between moving and shifting the lanes. If you line up A1 with B1, they're both going to play together. If you shift it and move A1 to A2, just the bass is going to play together. Some were trying to mute sounds and all of that when they were in song mode. When you try to mute sounds, you got to be careful because you could be muting a sound in another pattern or muting a sound in another scene. Don't even get into that. The best thing to do in those situations when you're building your song is to just create another pattern and then delete that sound altogether. So that way you have a completely different pattern without that sound that you're trying to mute. So we have A1 here and we have B1. We're good with that, right? So now let's create a scene since we're done with that. Shift, main, we just created another scene. Now what we're going to do in this scene is we're going to remove this snare. This snare here, we're going to remove that. Delete that track. And now, so scene 2 has no snare. Scene 1 has everything. Let's create another scene. Scene 3. So for scene 3, we're going to remove the kick. Let's remove this kick here. Now, that's scene 3. Create another scene. Scene 4. In this scene, we're going to remove the bass line. Great. So now we have 4 scenes. Let's go through the scenes again. So scene 1 is going to be the entire drum pattern. Scene 2, no snare. Scene 3, no kick and no snare. Scene 4, no bass line. That's good. That's good enough to build a little song. We just built a pattern. Then we took that pattern, created some scenes. So now that we have our patterns and our scenes together, let's go into song mode. Now we're in list 1. So for list 1, I want to play scene 4. I want the song to open up with just drums. List 1 playing scene 4. Let's see what that sounds like. Perfect. Sounds good enough to me. Now I'm ready to move on to the next list. So we're going to hit Shift A to add another list. And in this list, I want to play scene 3, which is, I believe, just no kick. Let's listen and see. Yes. So I want list 2 to play scene 3, and I want it to play scene 3 2 times. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to add another list to play scene 3 2 times because it was just a 1-bar pattern. So let's do that. So now that will play 2 times. Let's listen and see what it sounds like. Once, twice, and then it goes back to that initial intro. It's just going to keep looping that song mode until you manually stop it. Sounds good so far. So let's create another list, list 4, and we want to play scene 1. Let's see what that sounds like. Two. Perfect. And then it went back to the intro. Sounds good to me, but I think I want that drop to play 2 times as well. So let's add another list playing it 2 times. So now it's going to play 2 times. One, 2. 1, 2. And it's going to go back to the intro. I think I want that final pattern to play 3 times, just so you can kind of get the concept. So let's add another list. In fact, no, let's add another sequence, a different sequence. I want list 6 to play sequence 2. It's the one with no snare. And that's pretty much it. That is song mode. So while we're here, I just wanted to point out some commands that you're going to need to know. If you just press play, it's going to play right from where you are. Wherever that playhead is, that's where it's going to play from. If you want to go to the beginning of a song, you have to hold Shift, then press play, and it's going to go to the beginning. List 1. Let's go do that again. List 4 is just going to play from list 4. Now I want to go to the beginning. Shift, play. That's the first thing. If you want to cut or delete a song position, it's going to be the same command as copy. But what you're doing is you're actually cutting the position of the song. So here we have L6. Let's say we don't want L6 anymore. We're going to do Shift C, and it cut L6 out of the song. So let's say we don't want 5. Let's cut that. Now it's down to 4. I want to show you something else. Let's say we want to start with that position. We want to start with this as opposed to starting with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to position 4, which is list 4. I'm going to copy it, Shift C, and I'm going to insert that at the beginning. Shift D, paste. After this is going to go into the initial intro that we had because it just shifted that intro forward. Hopefully you guys caught that. Let me do it again. Here we have the intro. This is the intro, L1 or list 1. This is the intro we have right now. I don't want that intro. I want the intro here on list 4. I want that to be the intro. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, Shift C. I'm going to go to the intro or to the beginning of the song, and I'm going to paste it here. And now it's going to start here. So that's pretty much the song mode. It's not complicated. It's just understanding the structure and the build of how it actually works. Patterns, scenes, then song mode. All right, so now that you guys got your head wrapped around that, you guys know how to build songs, patterns, scenes. You guys know about all of that. So what I wanted to do was I just wanted to do another example that's a little more complicated with something that I already had, and we're going to build a song. So let's get into it. Here we have a scene, scene 1. Let's go to scene 2, see what's there. That's scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, scene 6. All right, I like all of these scenes. So I have 7 scenes here. That's enough to build a song. So let's go build a song. Main, enter. Now we're in song mode. We can see that we have no other positions. It's only one list, list 1. Now let's build our song. So for list 1 or position 1, I'm going to have sequence 1 or scene. I'm calling it a sequence, but as I said, scenes and sequences are the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Here, scene 1. I want that to play twice, so I'm going to add it again. Perfect. Perfect. Let's add another list. And for this list, I want to play scene 2. Let's see what that sounds like. Perfect. I want that to play twice. So let's add it again. Perfect. Let's see what everything sounds like. Perfect. Sounds good to me. Perfect. Let's add another list. So for this list, I think it's ready to go into the actual song or the actual pattern. So for this list, let's go straight into the song, which is scene 3. Let's check it. And you always check it by playing it from the playhead where it is. By just pressing play. Wherever you go, you can just press play and it will play from that particular list. If we want to go to the beginning, remember you have to hit shift play and that will take you to the beginning. So let's see what everything sounds like. Sounds good so far. It's our intro leading into the actual pattern. Let's go. Sounds great. Only thing, we need to add that twice because it's only playing 1 bar. So let's go back to list 5 and let's add this again. Now it's going to play twice. It's going to play here and it's also going to play here. So now after that plays twice, let's drop some stuff out and see what that sounds like. So I'm going to add another list, shift A, and let's go through our scenes and see what we can add. That sounds good. So for list 7, I'm going to play scene 7. Let's see what it all sounds like together. Sounds good. Perfect. Let's build another list, list 8. And let's let it do one more thing. Let's see. Let's do scene 6 with nothing. And then once it's on scene 6, that'll be the end of the song. So this is going to be the end of the song. And after it plays this, it's going to go back to the beginning or the intro. Remember, it loops itself until you actually stop it. And there you have it. That is song mode. One last thing before we get out of here. Remember what I showed you about the cut and paste? I'm just going to put that into action so you can actually see it and actually cutting the position out of the song altogether. We have this at the beginning. Remember, this was our intro, right? That's our initial intro. Let's say I want to change that. Now, of course, there's two ways to do it. If I want to change it, all I have to do is hold shift and play a different scene. If I wanted to change it, let's do scene 2. Let's do scene 1 again. Shift, let's change the scene again. Let's do 7. Right? So if you want to change it, really all you have to do is just go into the list and change the scene. But the other way to change it, if you want to insert a scene from somewhere else, what are we going to do? We're going to go to that particular position. We're going to copy it, then insert it where we want it. So let's do that. Right now, this is the intro. No, let's put it back to the original intro. And let's say we want this to be the intro. So what will we do? Shift C, copy, go to the intro, insert, Shift D. Now, and that's basically how you cut and insert from somewhere else in the song. One last thing, let's say you have some positions that you don't like or that you no longer want in the song. We can just cut those out altogether. Let's say we don't want that in the song. This position here. Before that position comes list 7, which is this. So now what's going to happen when I cut this position, when I cut position 8 or list 8, after this position, list 7, it's going to loop back to position 1, which is this. So that means it's going to go from position 7 back to position 1 because I'm going to cut position 8. So it's not going to go from 7 to 8. It's going to go from 7 to 1. So let's cut 8. Shift C. 8 is now gone. There is no more list 8. As I'm advancing, it's only stopping at 7 because there are no more lists. I just cut it. So now what's going to happen? Let's play the whole thing and see. And there you have it. So that is song mode. I did 2 examples. We built a pattern, put it in the song mode, and then we put a pattern that I already had and put that in the song mode. So you guys should really understand what this song mode is about now. Remember, you had patterns, then you take your patterns, you put those into scenes, then you take your scenes and you put those into the song mode. L means list. It's just a list of your scenes. Remember that. That's all that is. Listen, you guys keep doing what you do. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Take care.